Hello friends, welcome to Geeky Rabbit. Welcome to our series on Cucumber. So in our last few sessions we saw that how to create a feature file and write the scenario into it using the working language, as well as we saw that how to create the test runner file and specify the different Cucumber options in it. So now it's time for us to write the step definition file against all these steps that we have written. So for that we'll go to this step definition package and we'll create a new class. So let's try and create a Java class. So we will give the name as new tours login. So this will be our class name, and so don't select this public static void main and just click on finish. So now automatically a Java file will be created. Java class will be created. So now we will have to write down the actual code for each of these steps. So for that, let us do one thing. We will go in here and just, okay, let me take this here. Okay, so the first step that we will be doing is, so we will be initializing the WebDriver. Okay, so just import WebDriver from Selenium, and we will be importing the WebDriver. So this is done. Now for the first step, so for each of these steps we have to write a code, and so we will be starting off with a given. So for this one we have to write the code. So to do this we have to write, so let's start. So at the rate given, so we have to write at the rate given to write the code for this particular line. So for this particular line we will write the code right now. So let us write given, then we have to specify the step name in a particular format. So the format is just double quotes, then this up arrow, and then there is a simple trick that just copy all this name. So this will be your scenario name. So this will be your step definition name as well. So this, and lastly you have to give dollar. Okay, so now it is being done, and now under it you will have to define a method public void, then again copy the same name and just separate it with an underscore, so it will be easy for us, so easy for remembering purposes also. So okay, so okay, so this is done, and now we have to just write the actual code what will the step will do. So this step is specifying that user is already on the new tools page. So in this case we will have to first of all invoke the Chrome driver so that we will launch the test in Chrome. Okay, so before doing that just import this one from the Cucumber Java API. Okay, so just import it, and now here first of all we will have to just, first of all I will write it, invoke Chrome driver. So the actual code for invoking Chrome driver, then we will using driver dot get URL, we will get a particular URL. So we will write driver dot get URL and a particular URL which we'll need to hit. And again there are some prerequisites. So like if you want to maximize the browser and everything, or we delete all cookies, so all that logic we will be writing in here. So or maximize the browser. Okay, so the step, the logic for all this will be inside this. So now, and this is complete for one step. So now if you can see, this part is only written for this given one, and we have to specify all of this for each and every step. So before doing this, so right now if you go and write everything, it will be hard for us to, or it will take some time. So there is an easy way to avoid this. So just remove this and do one thing, just initialize the driver and keep it as it is. So for now save it is. So go to the test run file. So in test runner, we have specified the option dry run. So when we specify dry run is equal to true, so what will happen is the scenario will run and it will check that for all the given steps if there is any particular step definition defined or not. So if it is not, then it will throw an error, and from that thing we will get to know that we have written test step definition for all this particular lines. So, and if we give as false, then the actual scenario will execute. So right now we will be making it as true, and we will run this test runner file. So we'll be running it as a JUnit test, and now let's see what happens. So now you can see the runs. There were 7 runs as there are 7 steps, and all of them ran. So now if you go to the console, so now you can see some methods defined here. So you can see in here one scenario got executed. There were 7 steps, and it specifies that you can implement the missing steps with the snippets below. So it has already created some predefined snippets, and you just have to use them and write the code. So this is an easy way of uh, minimizing the steps for writing the code. So what you can do is just copy this, all these methods till given, and copy this and just come in your step definition file. So this is the advantage of the dry run option. So now in here, just copy paste it. So now all the code all you have to do is write the exact code for that particular method. So now if you can see whatever we did earlier, like at the rate given, user is already on the new tools page, and the what we inserted the underscore in between this, everything is already done by Cucumber itself. So now the one thing we have to do is we have to delete this unnecessary lines and also this exception. And now we just have to write the code in here. So first of all, we'll just delete all these things. Okay, and just remove this. So this will help you in saving your time, and surely it is an easy way to write all these different methods. So now, so dry run option is very useful in this case. Just remove this and also import all the library files. Okay, so now this is done. Okay, so we are done with this, and now slowly one by one just import this. So import the then import for when as well, and for given we already imported in the previous, so when we wrote it manually. Okay, so it is already there. Okay, so now it's time for us to write the code, actual code. So now let's go line by line. So first of all, we have to write for the first line. So it is saying that user is already on the new tools page. So to bring user to the new tools page, what all steps are necessary, we'll all write here. So in here, first of all, we'll invoke the Chrome driver. So in my previous, one of my previous tests, I have written this. So I will copy the same code because the code will be same. So these 4 lines I will copy. Okay, so I will explain what it does. So first of all, the system set property is used to invoke the Chrome driver, and so just okay. So now you'll understand, and just import this Chrome driver. So I have already downloaded the Chrome driver exe and I have kept it at this path. So with the help of this command, I will be invoking the Chrome driver. Then I will be removing this URL and I will be putting in before that. First of all, we will maximize the driver before putting the URL. Okay, so this will go away. Okay, so this maximize code will go before getting the URL. Okay, so now it will invoke the Chrome browser, it will maximize it, and then it will get the URL that we specify in here. So the URL that we want to specify here is newtools.demoart.com. So this is the application under test. So we'll take this, we'll copy this, and we'll put in here. Okay, so we are done and we are already on now on that page. So our next step is to check the title of new tools login page and get it printed. So for that we'll write a code. So go in here. So the code goes like, so let's take a string and let's define a variable. So this is the landing page variable. So landing page title, we'll give the name as for the variable, and we'll give driver dot get title. So using this command we'll get the title of the page in this variable lp title, and to print it just type in system in system out and title of the page. So just give a message, title of the page is, give space and just append this variable, that is lp title. Okay, so the second method is also completed and we have successfully written the code that we need. Now the third thing is user enters username and password. So now if you go to that window, so now if you can see, once user is on this window, we need to identify these two elements and we need to pass the username password, which I have already created, and then we have to click on this sign in link. So for doing that, let us go in here. So first of all we'll write the code for finding those elements will be driver dot find element. So we'll use the find element command and we'll go by xpath. So by dot xpath, and we will have to specify the xpath in here, and then we will have to send keys. So suppose this is for, so send keys and whatever variable username and password that we need to give. So my username is Geeky rabbit. Okay, so now we just have to identify the xpath for username, and we'll copy this same command for password as well. So here we will have to insert the xpath for username field, then we have to use the insert the user xpath for password field. So for doing that, let's go to the browser and we'll find it. So right click on this and just inspect it. Okay, so now in here there is one way to obtain the xpath. We can go in here, copy and just copy this xpath, or we can just type in control F and we can actually, so we will actually type in or we'll make the xpath for that username field. So if you can see, the type here is text and name is username. So using this we'll write the xpath something like this. So we need to be very good at making xpaths, so if you want to work with Selenium. And right now if I go with @text, @type equal to text, let's see if it works. Text and then close this bracket. Okay, so it will identify the username field. So this will be the xpath for username. So we'll just copy this, we'll put in here, and for password similarly we will have to find out the second field. So this is the field. So let us inspect this, and the input type here also is password. So we just have to change the input type in here. So instead of text we can write password, and I guess it will work. Yeah, so this is the xpath. So we can use this xpath in here. So we need to find xpaths. So these are very simple xpaths, but there will be more complex xpaths if you are seeing with some hidden element and everything. So how to deal those we will be seeing in our next upcoming lectures. So for now we are good with this. So now we have found out this username and password field with the help of this xpath, and we have sent the keys in here. So now the user wants to click on the login button. So this has to be done. So again we will find out the element. First of all we'll find out the element with particular XPath. So we'll replace the XPath here, and then we will just click on it. So click. Okay, so now what we have to click is this button, this sign in. So right click, inspect. So let's see what XPath we can make in here. So this is an okay. So let's type in input, and as it is an image type, so let's go with at the rate type equal to image. Image will do, I guess. Just close this bracket. Okay, so we have got it. So this is the XPath for image. So we'll just copy this and we'll insert in here. Okay, so now we have got the XPath for username, password, as well as the sign in button, and now we are clicking on it. Now once the click is done, so we'll also provide some weight in here. So let's give in driver dot manage. So for home page to load, it will take some time. So for that, we will just give timeouts, and we'll specify some timeouts. So for now, I'm using implicit weight. Implicit weight, and we will specify 15, I guess, and the time unit will be, we will have to type time unit, time unit dot seconds. So we'll wait for 15 seconds. Also import. Okay, so this is done. Okay, so now it will click on the sign in button and it will wait for 15 seconds so that the home page will load. So now after it, once we are in home page, we will again verify the title and then we will log out. So for doing this, let's go with string. So we'll take another variable called as home title, and we'll get the URL, that is driver dot get title. So we'll use the same code in here as well to get the title, and then we'll just print it out. So now we'll print page title after logging is, we'll just append this variable. Just give a space and just append a variable home title. So now we have fetched the home title as well, and we have printed it out. Again, we will just give this timeout, and then lastly we will have to log out of the system. So for this also we'll need to find out the XPath of the element. So we'll just copy this, and so now we will have to click on it. So the method, it will be dot click. Okay, and now we will have to find the XPath of the sign out button. So for doing so, let me just log in the browser using my credential. And let's see where we'll find the sign out button. Until then, we'll go and we'll write the code for after logging out. We have to close the browser, right? So we will just write in driver.quit, which will close the browser. So just we are remaining with this XPath now. For doing that, just see if you are logged in. Now we need to log in. Let's see if we can log in into it. Okay, so we have logged in into it, and now we need the XPath of this element. Right click on it and just do an inspect and find the XPath as we did in the earlier case. So let's go with, so this is a link, right? So let's go with the star. So it will search on all page. Then we'll write contents, and we will write text, comma. Then we will give the actual text. So what is the actual text in here? So it is sign off. So we'll write sign off. We'll close this, sign off, then this one and the bracket. So see, we got this XPath. So we should be very good at making XPath, and I will just copy this XPath and click in here. Okay. So now in case, if you'll see, we have written all the steps definition for all the steps, and we have also defined the logic in it. So in here we are doing a simple login scenario in which the user will find the username password field. It will insert the this username and password. It will click on sign in, then it will fetch the title of the home page, and then it will log out and it will close the browser. So now one thing to note is, so now just save this, and now if you go in here, just go and save. So just go in, first of all go in test runner. So now just see if we have, so again we will run this with the help of JUnit test, so that we will see that any steps is missing or not. So now we should not see any error as we have written all the steps. So now if we see, we are not getting any error. Okay, so if we bring in the console, so if you can see, no steps is missing. So in this case we have written all the steps, so that's why it is not showing any error and we are good to go. So now as all scenarios is covered, we'll run this and see what happens. So now let us run the script by making this dry run as false, and let us save this, and now the actual scenario will run. So now as you can also see, the yellow color lines which were underlying lines, those error have now gone, because for each and every step we have written a step definition. So now the errors or warnings, they have gone here from here. So now just go to your test runner file, just right click and click as run as, and now let us see whether the login and logout is successful and what happens to our Cucumber test. So as you can see, the feature has started executing. Now it is initializing the Chrome browser. So it has maximized, then it has fetched the user. Also it has entered the username and password. Now it will click, we have given a wait. So it will wait for some time before clicking on the sign in link. And now it has clicked on the sign in link and it has log out. So now if you see the output, see, so one scenario got executed and there were 7 steps. So all of them were passed. And now if we see, so the first title of the page was fetched. So when we are on the home page, it was it fetched the title and it printed in here. And then after login, page title after login is find a flight Mercury tours. This is the page title after login. So it also got printed. And now if you can see all the steps which have gone past, you can see in here. So in this feature, there were 7 steps and 7 of them run. So there is one scenario and all of them have passed. If you can see, the green ones indicate that all the steps have passed and the scenario is successful. So now if we go, so now in here, uh, so so okay, okay, so I guess there is some issue with the folder. So this folder was not created. Okay, we can see that how the generated output looks, and in our next sessions So anyways, we are going to see this Cucumber options. So at that time, we will see that how to generate the output as well, and how to view that output and how it looks on the browser. So in this way, uh, we have completed writing a feature file. We have completed writing a step definition as well as the test runner file, and we have successfully implemented a login scenario. So in this way, if you just increase the scenario, it will execute all the scenarios and give you results. So that's all for today, and hope you have liked this content. So we'll be back with some more Cucumber related content. And till then, have a good time. Good day.